Right, so here we are on the Transalp. Right away this feels much more leg room. Legs, I can show you my legs there are definitely, watch nothing's coming out here. See a wee bit further forward. Arms are a bit more straight. Definitely this is, you know, this is a full-on adventure bike. This part I'll just use the clutch. We'll open this up a bit. We'll get the chance. Obviously revs out at 10,000 RPM as opposed to 7. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't tend to be a rever unless I'm on that kind of bike. You know, if it was a CBR 600RR or a ZX10 or something like that, that, you know, really all the power comes with the revs, then on that style of bike it seems right and it screams its head off and you're quite happy. But for these style of bikes, I'm not really the type of person that would be feeling that I need to over rev it. So I've got an initial gut feeling that for most things, unless you were really riding this flat out all the time, for most things I think the NC would do a very similar job and have the benefit of the DCT. What it wouldn't have is it wouldn't have that top end and the ability to really use the bike when you needed to. But again, like I say, it depends on how you're going to ride this bike, what your intentions are with it. If you're like me, I mean, I'm changing, you know, gear at about maybe 3,500 to 4,000 RPM, and that's just the way I would probably ride, because I'm not looking to rev the nuts off the engine, if that makes sense. So maybe 4,500 to 6,000 would be reasonable, but again, that's the kind of area that the NC can handle. But let's get out on the open road before we really sort of decide on the character of the engine and how you might use it. Certainly has got that extra oomph. There's like 6.5. I wouldn't really be looking to push it beyond that. I think it's quick enough at that. See what's like in top gear. Of course, this is where you miss the Africa twin size bikes, where you got the acceleration in top gear. I mean, it's not bad, but compared to like an Africa twin, obviously it's not going to have that same get up and go. You are going to have to use the gearbox a bit. Let's get it down a few gears. You definitely can feel that this will push a little bit easier than the NC. But then I am doing much higher speeds than I was on the NC. This definitely shifts a lot quicker. But to be expected. But then it's taking you into all the illegal speeds. It's got a little bit more pull about it. You can feel it. But nothing that makes a huge difference in the day-to-day stuff that you might do. Nothing at all. You know? I don't know what mode this is in. I'm just going to have a wee, let's set in sport mode. You're definitely going to have a bigger hoot on this, because it is, like I said, along the lines of the power of my VFR 750, where you've got that kind of brake horsepower. Definitely no problem overtaking on that. This one certainly I think you could do everything on, and you'd be able to do 2 up and you'd be able to do your overtakes, but like I say, you maybe would have to be a bit more of the right hand, and you know, obviously use the right gear. I mean, if I'm being honest, this is a nice bike, I like it. Doesn't bring anything to the table for me at the moment that the NC 750 doesn't bring, other than it is much more legroom, and I think it's got a lot more flexibility in how you might be able to use it in some ways. again, you can see we're up to the sort of similar speeds when we did that overtake. So I think, you know, you got to give kudos to that NC. It does a lot better than you think. Yes, this is night and day. It's got, you know, at least 33% more power, but it just depends in the world that you're going to use that power. And for the majority of commuting, travelling, that kind of stuff, I just don't really know that this would outgun what the NC could comfortably make you do. The only question mark, like I say, is maybe going to be when you come to things like 2-up. I mean, this is never going to be a great 2-up bike, I think, comfort wise. I can't see it, if I'm being honest. I might be wrong, but I think, you know, it's difficult once you get to the 2-up territory. It's always easier to go bigger, isn't it? Again, you'd have to try it. You'd have to take it out, try it, put a pillion on the back, see how you get on. So we're in 5th gear, let's go down to 4th, let's do the overtake. So that was easy. That was easy, comfortable, I didn't have to drop gears, did that quite effectively. So yes, this will probably be just that bit sharper, a bit quicker for the overtakes. Brakes, much the same, really. Can't say they're any different. mean, okay, it's a bit more compliant. The bumps here are definitely a bit more compliant, but you're still feeling it. I mean, they are severe bumps, but oh, so daisy. Oh, so daisy. I must have been going a bit cannier on the NC because I didn't actually notice that. I think this bike makes you ride faster just because of its revvy nature and its extra power. Just makes you go that bit quicker. Average consumption is saying about 56.4, so that's probably not bad because I didn't reset the trip meter. I'm not going to reset the trip meter, but I didn't reset the trip meter, and there's been a little bit of rev in it there. I think what the difference is that you're in control of this bike and you're revving it, so you're taking it much further than you do than what the DCT does. The DCT changes gear a bit quicker so that you're not always over revving it sort of thing, or higher up in the rev range. And I think in turn what that does is it makes the NC seem a lot smoother than this bike, and I think it's down to the DCT, you know, basically doing that function. This is a very capable bike. I'm not sure that I feel it's worth the extra money over the NC unless you specifically want an adventure bike. That's my feeling. You know, an all-out adventure bike. I mean, this is nice, you can bimbo and go through the hillsides and do all that stuff. Be great, a great back lane scratcher this would be. Definitely is a proper adventure bike. It's an all-out adventure bike compared to what the NC is. The NC is an adventure style bike. Try and pull over somewhere. I said I wouldn't stop, I'm just going to stop for a minute. There's a fine looking bike.